Hi, this is Kara. Welcome to Breaking Free Fridays, or welcome back if you've been following the series. It's great to have you here. Today I was inspired to talk about, do you feel trapped? It's such a great topic with us closing out the end of a year and looking at the launch of 2025. And the reason being is because there's so much freedom and empowerment when we realize how we feel stuck or where we feel trapped. And oftentimes, what's so ironic is that we are actually the makers of our own imprisoning or entrapment. And until we actually see it, it it seems odd and it doesn't make sense because we can be so in the thick of the experience that we don't realize just how much empowerment and opportunity we have in actually breaking free of certain patterns that are actually contributing to our own entrapment. So, for example, boundaries can be a big area of opportunity here. And if we grow up not learning how to have healthy boundaries, or if we grow up learning how to really push other people's boundaries, then there's a big imbalance there, and there's an opportunity for us to shore that up. One of the biggest keys in discovering where we might actually be keeping ourselves in patterns of entrapment have to do with areas where we don't feel like we have choice, and usually those are like the red flag saying, hey, look at me, this is the doorway to big awareness, big healing opportunities, big breakthroughs. And it's those places where we can kind of navigate through and come to greater levels of empowerment. For example, let's say you might be in a toxic relationship of some sort, and you don't feel like you have a way out. There could be choices that are really there, but you're just not seeing them yet. And some of us not seeing those choices, those can be a result of belief systems that keep us small. They can also be the result of our nervous system operating at such a level that there's just no more capacity for us to really kind of breathe and see different perspectives. Another piece can be, entanglements. We might be entangled in other people's feelings or energy. You've probably heard this before, but it's true. We are not responsible for other people's feelings. We can influence, we have impact, but each of us, our feelings are really big messages for us. They're indicators in our own system of where we are out of alignment with our own inner truth, with our own true self. And oftentimes we can get entangled with other people's feelings or other people's energy, and it can make things confusing until we start to break free of those patterns and have more grounding and centeredness in our own space and in our own energy field. So those are some other pieces. And as we look back on 2024, and even just taking a moment to do that is actually a big breakthrough, because so many people just move on to the next day, move on to the next whatever. And reflection is such a powerful opportunity for us. I mean, that's where things, come into focus in terms of what we've learned, what we're grateful for, an opportunity for us to see where we've been and where we want to go. And so when we're looking at this new year coming forward, and what beautiful opportunities exist that we want to create, what our dreams are, what our goals are, and kind of bridging the two between, where we've been in this last year to where we want to go, and taking the time to really sit with yourself in a compassionate and curious and adventurous place, not one of beating yourself up for what maybe you haven't gotten to or what didn't transpire, because it's about the journey and the progress. It's not about the perfection. And the more that you can grasp onto these points of celebration, the more that the momentum builds behind the things that you really want to manifest. So keep that in mind. The energy behind where we are in a place of problem or challenge is never the same as the energy that it takes to create the solution. So they're different vibrational levels. And so one of the things that I wanted to invite you to do as you think about 2025 and where you want to go in this new year, and what you want to manifest, is to continue the practice of really feeling and envisioning what it is that you want, as though it's already in existence, as though you're celebrating that is the reality in the physical here and now. And the more that you connect with that, the more that gap is actually closed, and that reality that you're dreaming of is becoming real, as opposed to just a vision. So I just invite you to do that. And some of that has to do with identity and who we need to be to create what it is that we want. I want to give an example, and this may seem a little extreme, but I think sometimes that's helpful in getting certain points across. But if you have experienced this yourself, or have loved ones that have dealt with substance abuse addiction, or alcoholism, for example, you'll know that the rate of relapse is really high, especially within that first year. One of the standards, even in principles that are very well esteemed, like in AA principles, for example, one of the things that could possibly be a contributing factor for the rate of relapse, I'm not saying it's all of it, but it's a component, that people are to say their name and that they are an addict or an alcoholic, and that reinforces the identity of being an addict or an alcoholic. But what if the identity reinforced is, I am a healthy and whole person? How much different does that feel? And I don't suggest this as a way of taking away from the reality of the physiological aspects of the disease that is part of substance abuse addiction or alcoholism, because that's real and that does exist. And that can be real and exist, and somebody can embrace a new identity for the person that they want to be, that's more encouraging and reinforcing of recovery, as opposed to somebody that's in a state of active using. Hopefully that makes sense, but you can apply that concept to any area. So if, for example, if your abundance in financially speaking isn't exactly where you want it, then you may have an opportunity to really embrace and embody the identity of someone that has immense financial wealth, freedom, and resources. So, and focusing and embodying that feeling and that vision, as opposed to where you might be now. is really a powerful way of bridging the gap between the two. So another area that's so great on releasing those traps is to figure out where you might be wearing masks. And, this is common. People do this as a coping mechanism in surviving and trying to gain belonging. We have all different kinds of masks that we might wear, but the more authentic that we are, the more that we can stand in our truth and our true self, in as many areas of life as possible, the more like integrated and whole that represents in how we show up in life. So you can find almost like breadcrumbs to areas where you can release these entrapments that we have for ourselves by seeing, okay, where and why and when am I wearing a mask, and how has it been serving me, and what does that mean, and where can I go with that? So there's all of these really cool opportunities for releasing ourselves to these different levels of empowerment and freedom, and we'll talk more about that in other videos as well. But one of the big things I wanted to share from a tool standpoint, to help you come to greater levels of awareness, is to remember to do practices on a regular basis to clear yourself, because we get cluttered. We live in a lot of chaos. There's a lot of external factors that influence us. And, even in our own, day-to-day lives where we cope, sometimes certain things are not the healthiest of habits. And it's very powerful to maintain a regular practice of clearing physically, clearing emotionally, clearing mentally, clearing energetically. And there's lots of different tools to do all of those. And some of the fun is finding the ones that work best for you. And they may shift at different times in your journey, and that's okay too. So embrace that. I hope you're enjoying a beautiful holiday season. And I wish you a very, very happy new year. And here's to another level of empowerment and breaking free. If you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe or comment or send a like. And I will see you in the new year in 2025. Have a great week. Bye.